Just listen. I'm sorry what I did to Compton.
You are listening to
Fire emergency.
Please don't touch him, listen. I'm sorry I killed that girl.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Grim Fix podcast. I am your host, David, and yes, I am flying solo today. As you see, I don't have my co-host JR and Charles here today due to that storm, hurricane that passed over Puerto Rico, and they are still without power. So I had to do this episode, right? Not to leave you guys without anything this week. So I decided to go and steer off our schedule, right? And just I started searching for a few other cases, and I stumbled upon an unsolved case of a serial killer that it's actually close to home for me. So before we begin, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, now is a great time to press that like button, push on that subscribe button, and always leave us your comments. What do you think of the episode? Anything you want to add? Anything you might not, anything that you might know that we don't mention, or simply a request, a story, anything you want to let us know, please feel free to drop us a comment. If you are listening to us through your favorite podcast app, I ask that you follow, subscribe to the podcast, drop us a review, drop us 5-star, just tell the world how awesome we are so we can keep this growing. All right, guys, so I wanted to talk to you guys about this specific case of a serial killer, right? That apparently there were these murders going on, and not until years later, they started linking that, hey, maybe we might have a serial killer in our hands. They've actually made a movie about this and a few documentaries and stuff like that. But what case am I talking about? I'm talking about the Long Island Serial Killer. So I looked up a few articles, and one of the ones that had, I guess, the best information that I wanted to bring to you guys today. Obviously, this is a case that is still being updated as information comes in, even though, it happened a few years ago. I think the last murder, the last case, right? The newest case was back in 2010. But I found this article on allthatisinteresting.com written by Jessica O'Connor and checked by Adam Farley that I wanted to read to you guys and see what you guys think about it. This is still a case that's in investigation. It still hasn't been solved. They do not have a killer yet. So let's dig into this article. Beginning of 2010, investigators uncovered 16 corpses, mostly young women who had been killed over a period of at least 14 years and discarded across New York's Gilgo Beach. Authorities believe that they may have been victims of the mysterious Long Island serial killer. So let's look into a little more at how this started, right? According to the article, beginning in 1996, police started discovering human remains near Gilgo Beach on Long Island's South Shore. And for the next decade, they kept finding more. But it wouldn't be until 2010 that a new discovery led them to believe that all victims could be the work of a single murderer dubbed the Long Island Serial Killer. That December, Suffolk County Officer John Malilla and his specialized cadaver dog were searching for Shannan Gilbert, a local woman who had gone missing 7 months earlier. But as the dog tried to pick up Gilbert's scent, it led Malilla to something much worse. The remains of 4 bodies, all within 500 feet of each other. Police immediately launched an extensive investigation into the so-called Gilgo 4. By the end of 2011, they found 6 more sets of human remains near the same stretch of Ocean Parkway along Gilgo Beach. To this day, 4 victims remain unidentified, and police believe there could be as many as 6 more victims linked to the Gilgo Beach murders. But even after years of investigation and countless leads, the case repeatedly goes cold. Every so often, Suffolk County Police release new evidence in the hope of identifying more of the victims. Yet the identity of the Long Island serial killer has remained mysterious for more than 2 decades. So apparently this case has been stretched for over 20 years, right? They were searching for a missing woman, right? Her name was Shannan Gilbert, right? And upon using their cadaver dog, they stumbled onto a body, which then led to 4 more, which then led to 6 more. So you see how it's expanding, right? It's the body count is growing. And still to this day, they still don't have a suspect. Let's continue reading. Long Island South Shore is typically a dreamy paradise along the East Coast, with shimmering water, plenty to do in the summer, and tight-knit community many call home. But for 23-year-old Shannan Gilbert and more than a dozen others, it became a nightmare. When Officer Malilla and his dog found the human remains along a remote stretch of Gilgo Beach, it began a lengthy investigation into nearly 20 years worth of murders, but an unidentified suspect known variously as the Gilgo Beach Killer, the Craigslist Ripper, and the Manorville Butcher. Today, the mysterious murderer is known as the Long Island Serial Killer. It is believed that the suspected serial killer brutally strangled between 10 and 16 people, all but 1 who were women. After police found the Gilgo Beach victims along Ocean Parkway, Suffolk County Police Commissioner Richard Dormer made a bleak announcement. He flatly told the press and community 4 bodies found in the same location pretty much speaks for itself. It's more than a coincidence. We could have a serial killer, according to LongIsland.com. The news sent shockwaves through the community, and police launched a full investigation based on the findings from the women who became known as the Gilgo Beach 4. 22-year-old Megan Waterman, 25-year-old Maureen Brainerd Barnes, 24-year-old Melissa Barthélemy, and 27-year-old Amber Lynn Costello. Investigators determined that the Gilgo 4 had several things in common. They had all been sex workers who used Craigslist to advertise online before they disappeared. Each woman's body was found in individual burlap sacks, and here autopsies all revealed they died from strangulation. A few months into the Long Island serial killer case, police widened their search area based on evidence for the first 4 women. By March 2011, they discovered 4 more women. A month later, they found another 3 a mile east of the Gilgo 4. Though these women were not wrapped in burlap like the first 4, police determined that investigators needed to widen their scope even further to find any more potential victims, according to Newsday. Only one of the last bodies to be discovered has been identified. 20-year-old New York City resident Jessica Taylor went missing in 2003. At the time she vanished, she also made her living with sex work. She was found buried near another woman, a child, and a man. So after all these investigations, the bodies that they found, the women, the child, the man, it seems like the case went cold. The additional 7 bodies were enough to pull surrounding officers and the New York State Police into the Long Island serial killer investigation. On April 11, 2011, the investigation led to the discovery of another potential victim, bringing the total to 10. None of the victims were Shannan Gilbert, even though it was her disappearance that started the investigation. 11 days later, police found 2 human teeth after cutting through the brush along Ocean Parkway. no victim has been linked to the evidence. More remains were found and matched to unidentified victims, but identifying the victims remained challenging. I mean, this is something that I never knew that. I mean, if it's the same person, I get it. I mean, yeah, the same person kept burying his victims in the same place. But if it's not, then to be honest, I was not aware that Long Island had these heinous crimes going on. I mean, there's crime all around the world, obviously. But wow, like the fact that they keep finding these bodies unidentified. They have people who are missing, yet the bodies that they have found haven't been linked to all the people missing. In December 2016, police were able to match a torso found by a hiker in another location in 1997 to dismembered remains found near Jones Beach in neighboring Nassau County. A black woman in her 20s or 30s when she died. Police dubbed her Peaches because she had a distinctive tattoo of the fruit on her chest, according to the Long Island Press. Because her killer severed her head from her torso, police have been unable to release a composite sketch of what she looked like. Suffolk County Police issued a reward of $5,000 to $25,000 for any information that led to an arrest of the Long Island serial killer, but nothing came through. With no further evidence and an inability to identify the victims, the case went cold yet again. I mean, it seems it's just how this case keeps going cold. It seems to be that whoever is committed, or whoever has committed or is committing these murders, could be a man, could be a woman. I mean, it's obvious. Everyone automatically leans toward it's a man. We don't know that. We don't know if it's a man or a woman, but the person who is committing these murders, I mean, obviously keeps covering their tracks pretty well. I mean, it's been over 20 years, more than that. I mean, it's been over 20 years, and the fact that they still have no suspect is incredible. But apparently there has been some new evidence that has resurfaced. Let's continue reading. Late into the investigation into the Long Island serial killer, Shannan Gilbert's body was found on Oak Beach, a short distance from the Gilgo 4. Like the 4 women, Gilbert was also a sex worker and was close in age to the other victims, though this information was not released during the original investigation. The lack of transparency also proved to be a factor in the overall success of the case. Much more was known about the Gilgo 4 than was released, but the new Suffolk County Police Commissioner, Rodney Harrison, has sought to change that with further information. Harrison said, quote, "As the homicide squad continues its tireless work on the investigation, we believe now it's the right time to disseminate the previously unreleased information in hopes of eliciting tips from the public and providing greater transparency about the victims." End quote. Harrison has released as much information about the Long Island serial killer victims as is known, except for information about Shannan Gilbert, a point of contention between Gilbert's family and police. He has also increased the reward to $50,000 for any information that may identify who the killer is. In May 2022, police released the full audio from Shannan Gilbert's 911 call from the night she vanished in hope of getting answers in the case. The tape lasts 21 minutes, though parts of it are filled with silence in between repetitions of her telling the operator, "There's somebody after me," according to CBS News. With new information being released, old case details being reviewed, and the Gilbert family remaining diligent in helping solve the case of their daughter and the other victims, the Long Island serial killer that has tormented New York for decades may soon be found.
I'm Detective Lieutenant Kevin Byra, the commanding officer of the Suffolk County Police Homicide Section. This video was made to explain the circumstances surrounding the 3 911 calls made on the day Shannan Gilbert went missing. The full, unedited 911 calls are available, and I encourage people to listen to them in their entirety. Portions of the call taken out of context will sound sensational. During the early morning hours of May 1st, 2010, Shannan Gilbert, a Craigslist sex worker and resident of Jersey City, New Jersey, traveled from Manhattan to meet a client, Joseph Brewer, at his home at 8 The Fairway, Oak Beach, New York. Shannan was driven to Oak Beach from Manhattan by her driver, Michael Pack. Neither one was familiar with the area, neither one had been there before, and neither one had met Brewer before. Pack waited in the car while Shannan was inside with Brewer. Pack was her de facto security. At 4:51 a.m., while at Brewer's house, Shannan called 911. This call lasts for more than 21 minutes. At times, Shannan is speaking calmly, but slurring her words. At times, she is not responsive, and at times, she is screaming. During this call, Brewer and Pack are heard trying to get Shannan to leave the house. Shannan eventually does leave the house and runs to Gus Coletti's house, located at 17 The Fairway, which causes him to call 911 at 5:22 a.m.
State Police, Trooper Fry. State Police.
Yeah, there's somebody after me.
I'm sorry?
There's somebody after me.
Where are you?
There's somebody after me.
Okay, where are you?
There's somebody after me.
Where are you, ma'am?
I don't know.
You're driving right now?
No, I'm inside the house.
I'm sorry?
I'm inside the house.
What house?
I don't know. Can you trace where I am?
I'm sorry?
Can you trace where I am?
No, I can't. What's your callback number you're calling from?
Huh?
What phone number are you calling from?
Somebody's after me. Please.
Are you in Suffolk County or Nassau County?
I'm in Long Island.
Where on Long Island are you?
No. No. Please. Stop it, please. Please stop.
What's the matter? Are you okay?
What are you going to do? What are you going to do to me? You going to kill me?
Let's go back to Manhattan. Right?
Shannan then ran from Brewer's house at 8 The Fairway to Gus Coletti's house at 17 The Fairway, a distance of 0.2 of a mile.
Shannan.
Shannan interacts with Coletti. He invites her inside his home.
Shannan.
Somebody after you?
She then runs from Coletti's home, prompting Coletti to call 911. After Coletti's call, Shannan then runs another 0.2 of a mile to another home at 43 The Bayou, prompting a third 911 call made at 5:30 a.m. by Barbara Brennan.
Kid.
Suffolk Police 873 with location of emergency.
Yes, I live at Oak Beach in the association. And there's a young girl about 14 years old running around here screaming, and there's some guy trying to follow her.
What's the address there? All right, you have a description of the girl or the boy?
Pardon me?
You have a description of the girl or the boy?
The girl is about 14 years old, got blonde hair, very small. The boy, I can't tell. He was into like a Suburban.
What color?
Black.
Did you happen to get a plate number or any phone?
No, I didn't.
Okay, telephone number you're calling from. Are they still on the fairway?
They just went past the gatehouse where the entrance is.
And what's the name of the complex?
It's Oak Beach Association.
Okay.
Out at by Robert Moses.
All right, we got somebody over there.
I'll be watching.
Oh, okay.
Bye.
Suffolk Police 875. What is the location of your emergency?
43 The Bayou. Some woman is knocking at my door.
What town are you in?
Oak Beach Association.
What's the nearest corner street now?
Ocean Parkway. She says she's in danger.
Do you know her or no?
No, I don't. I'm not letting her in.
She's banging on your door now?
Yes.
Did she say what kind of danger?
No.
Oh.
And we live in a gated community.
What's your name, ma'am?
Barbara Brennan.
What's there a name to that community?
Oak Beach Association.
Oak Beach Association.
And I have an elderly mother here.
While we are of the opinion that this was an unfortunate accident, we remain open to evaluate any information that the public may have. Anyone with information is asked to call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-220-TIPS.
So with that said, if anyone out there, if you're listening to us, watching us, or listening in podcasts, if you have any information, I mean, it'd be great to pass it on to authorities. Being that this case has been dragged for so long, now the police have upped the reward to $50,000. Family is involved, right? Gilbert's family has united with police in efforts of finding out what exactly happened to their family member, as well as the other victims. But till now, and today it's September, right? We're in September 2022. The serial killer has not been found, identified. There are no suspects. We do not know what this person looks like. It could be a woman. It could be a man. I mean, we just don't know, which makes this a sad reality that so many women, I mean, one man, but so many people have died and still there is no clarification. There is no information. I mean, my heart goes out to the family members that do not have closure in situations like this. I mean, nothing will bring your family member back. But at least when you know who did it and that person is held responsible, I mean, I guess it gives some sense of relief. It gives them closure, knowing that the person who did that to their family member is paying, either in jail or whatever the case may be. So, I mean, it's heartbreaking to know that there are 16 families, right? If there are 16 so far, I think 16 bodies found. There's 16 families out there that do not have closure on what happened to their family member. So I know this was a little more serious. It's been more just giving you guys information of this unsolved case. Hopefully for the next episode, I will have my co-host here and we can bring our regular type of show. My prayers go out to Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic, the Caribbean, those who have suffered through this hurricane. Hopefully they'll get their water service and their power service, fixed and steady, right? Because I know that some places are getting power now, but it's still not steady. My heart goes out to all of you and my prayers. And guys, leave us in the comment, man. Send these places your prayers and good vibes. And I'll see you guys on the next episode. This has been the Grim Fix Podcast. See you next time. Stay safe.